What's up, my fellow trash generators? Welcome back to another video. On today's episode of Good Content, I'm finally going to be reviewing Venom Let There Be Carnage. And I was going to do it last Friday, but my phone crapped out, and I guess my phone is too full, and the storage doesn't have enough space for a full-length video. Well, I did some transfers of my older videos into my Google Drive, so there's a bit more space. So hopefully I can actually put this out. If not, I don't know. I'm gonna quit YouTube. Let's just say that. Let's hope this let's hope this attempt actually works. All right. Let's fix this. That felt a little off center. All right. Okay, let's do this. So we open up, spoilers for, this movie and Spider-Man No Way Home, because, of course. So yeah, go watch both this movie first. I'm not saying that there's anything in this movie that actually leads up to No Way Home. I'm just saying this movie should come first on priorities because of how funny it is. Alright? Okay, so we start off with a flashback that sets up Cletus, who becomes Carnage, and his love with Frances, who is Shriek in the comics. She screams loud. That's what she does. Anyway, they set it up that she's getting more powerful with her screaming, so she takes her away. But before that, Cletus gives her a ring, so that's how it pertains her love to her. Anyway, so she gets sent off, but on the way to the new place, so she can be she'll be captivity. She just screams at the guard watching her, and it makes him blind. And no, it makes him deaf in this year, like me. I'm deaf in this year, if you guys didn't know. A little bit, not completely, but a little bit. So yeah, that happens, but he shoots her in the eye. Not like in the eye, but like this. Her head was like this, and he shot her. So yeah, that happens. So that sets up the backstory for the security guard, who's Mulligan, Detective Mulligan. I'm doing better at remembering his name. Anyway, let's see. Which in the next scene, we're set up with Eddie in his new life with Venom, and him working with Mulligan to get to find out where Cletus. This happens a couple decades later. I remember it was a flashback. So yeah, now in present day, Mulligan and Eddie and Venom are trying to find out where Cletus hid the bodies that he killed, the people that he killed. And then while they're talking in the hallway, he's like, "Alright, Cletus wants to talk." He's saying this to Eddie. "Okay, Cletus wants to talk to you again. You're gonna have to go in there and find out where the bodies are." And he's like, "Alright," but as Mulligan was walking away, Venom comes out and tries to bite his head off, and then Eddie pulls Eddie pulls Venom and him into the girl's bathroom, and then he talks to him, and Venom's like,
"You are a bottom feeder. You're lucky I chose you, because you mess up everything I mess in. We need the details to finally get back on top."
He doesn't actually say to get back on top. I'm just basically just, whatever. He comes back out, and Mulligan says, "I don't like you," and he's like, But Venom says, I don't know, I don't remember what Venom says in that moment, but then Eddie replies to Venom saying, you don't deserve good things, to Mulligan. Anyway, next scene, Eddie's meeting with Cletus, and he's talking about stuff, and Cletus says, "Hey, here's a poem. Show it to everyone," which the poem is directed to Frances. Because obviously Frances has superpowers, so maybe she can help him out. Let's see. But on the way out, after talking, Venom's like,
Look.
to Cletus's room, which, by the way, really stupid. He carved in where he hid the bodies on the wall, in the frame, in the door frame. Through the door frame, you can see where he hid the bodies. But it's not totally, out there. It's just landscape with a bunch of... No, it is out there. It has, like, tombstones on this landscape, but whatever. So now Venom knows where the bodies are. So later that night, Venom shows Eddie where it is, where that place was, and where the bodies are. So now that Eddie knows, he tells everyone except Detective Mulligan. Anyway, so now that Eddie has found the bodies, and now Cletus is gonna be sent to death row, like Baki. Watch Baki. Anyway, let's see. This song is very distracting, but I thought it'd be fitting for this kind of movie. Anyway, Eddie's now back on top of the world like he was in the beginning of this first movie, which the first is definitely worse. Second is the best, and hopefully the third one is with the hairy chest. Anyway, now that he's back on top and he's living his life, but there's problems. Venom is hungry, and he wants to eat people, but sadly, since of the last time they went out and did heroic stuff, the FBI is on their trail. And if they don't want to go to Area 51, as they said, they're gonna need to not eat people. But hey, Venom's persistent, so they go to a chicken farm and eat chickens because they have brains, right? So yeah, but after that, after saving a lady from a mugger, they get a call from Anne because she wants to talk. Later on the next day, they go to see Anne. Eddie's dressed all nice. Venom's like nitpicking, like,
Fix your hair. It is not nice.
These little tentacles. While they're there, Anne tells them, I'm married. Eddie's upset and they have a tiny argument in quotations, because it's more of like, hey, you made me feel bad, but I still miss you in some imagination of the word. So yeah, Eddie's upset, and he tries to kill himself while he's riding his bike back home. But Venom's like,
you need to calm down. I know fixing your body after it's broken is something I do, but emotional pain hurts harder, and it lasts much longer.
So with that setup, so yeah. Okay, so Eddie has to go and talk with Cletus again, because he's on death row. So he goes to talk with Cletus, and then Cletus is blah, 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 blah. He just like sucker punches Eddie verbally the entire time. That makes Venom mad. And he's like,
you get over here, you son of a bitch. I'm gonna rip your face off.
But during the scuffle, Cletus bites Eddie's hand, and then at that very moment, Carnage is born. Because I guess it could be said that Venom was a little bit more emotional in the beginning of this movie, which I guess that could be a symptom of him being pregnant. But in the comics, it was also he was just kind of acting normal when Carnage was born. So who knows? Amped up writing or pregnant? We got those 2 bullet points. Pregnant. Wacky writing. Anyway, so Carnage isn't. So now Cletus has Carnage, and Eddie and Venom are upset at each other. Well, Eddie was, but now Eddie back at the apartment. Also, I said this in a couple takes ago. This movie was probably longer than it was when. It was probably longer because it feels really short. It's an hour and 30 minutes. That's a very short movie, and there's definitely feels like there should be more scenes in this. That would make the story a bit more complete. But I think they were trying to schedule. Sony was trying to schedule Sony and Disney for the release of No Way Home. They wanted to get Venom out before No Way Home, but I guess that came at the price of having less scenes that they couldn't finish in time. But thanks to COVID, they definitely had enough scenes. So I don't know why they. I guess they already had everything already set up. But it's still stupid because they definitely had more time to do stuff. Also, I guess they couldn't really talk to each other or do stuff together. Anyway, so Venom and Eddie fight. Venom leaves and Eddie has to pick up everything and become a normal human again for the most part. Then later that night, Carnage breaks out of death row and he kills the governor. No, the warden. He kills the warden. Because I remember seeing this video where a guy recapped the entire movie and he said the mayor was killed by Carnage. Which, hey guy, the video I watched like a month ago, do better research. Actually watch the movie. It was the warden. He said, Cletus says it twice. Whatever. Cletus and Carnage break out and they have this big old spree to find Francis. So yeah, good old insane love wins. Then Eddie finds out and he has to do his because he works for the news, the press. He has to use his detective skills to figure out what's going on. While trying to be safe. Because Cletus is out. Then, No, that's later on. Cletus finds Francis, he breaks her out, and then they set up the weaknesses of the symbiotes. Which, surprise, surprise, one of them is sound, and the other one is fire. Then Eddie finds out that Carnage is going after Francis. But Mulligan's like, I killed her. But then Mulligan goes to a apparent breakout where Carnage just broke out Francis, and he's like, how could she be alive? So Mulligan's like, get Eddie, bring him into custody. And then Eddie's like, I'm not going to tell you anything unless I have my lawyer, which is Anne. Because she's a lawyer, I think. Or an attorney. They're the same thing. Let's see. Okay. Anne looks for Venom and gets Venom and goes to Eddie, and then they break him out. But now that Eddie's out and Eddie and Venom have gone back together, they've gone back together. Eddie, Venom separate from Anne and her fiance. Anyway, I really hope this doesn't end. If it does, I don't care. It's a good movie. Go watch it, please. It's a 7 out of 10. No, 6.5 out of 10. It's a good movie, alright? Alright, go watch it. Anyway, so that happens, and then now they're separated, but Carnage and Francis kidnap everyone else except Eddie and Venom, and they use everyone else to Okay, hold on. Let's see. Okay, alright. We're good for like another couple minutes. I hope. I think. Alright, since Carnage, Cletus, and Francis has... Well, the thing they want to do is that each of them wants to kill someone in Eddie's life. Carnage wants Venom, because Venom made him. Francis wants Mulligan, because Mulligan took her eye. And Cletus wants Eddie, because Eddie feels like family to him. Also, did I mention they have a totally comic accurate backstory for Cletus? First he kills his grandma, then his mom, then his dog. And his dad almost beats him to death. And then he gets sent to the St. Estes Homes First Reform School for Kids. Anyway, so yeah, that's completely comic accurate. Especially the part where he dies at birth. That is completely comic accurate from what I know. Anyway, Eddie and Venom find out what Cletus and Francis want. And they're having a big old wedding at an abandoned church. And then the big old end of movie fight happens. Cletus and Carnage fight Eddie and Venom, while Francis tries to kill Mulligan quietly, because again, symbiotes hate sound. And fights happen, and the bell rings in the church, and then they can't fight for a little bit. Then Carnage. Thought I had a bloody nose for a second. This is really distracting, by the way. Doing you mind, do numb. Anyway, they fight for a little bit, and then Francis thinks she killed Mulligan, but he's not dead because he has Toxin. If you guys know what the comic's about, Toxin is the spawn of Carnage. So yeah, Toxin is being set up for the next movie. Let's see. I have to end this in less than 2 minutes. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, so Venom and Carnage are still fighting, but Carnage is really powerful because, yeah, that's how things work. Carnage is just built different, and so Carnage basically wins, and he brings Anne into the whole thing and tries to kill her. But Eddie and Venom realize, since Carnage doesn't like Francis and Cletus loves Francis because they just got married, they use Francis as a thing, and then she screams, and Cletus and whatever, and the things happen, and then Cletus and Carnage are defeated, and Anne is safe. Then Eddie and Venom, Venom eats Carnage, the symbiote, and then Eddie and Cletus talk for a little bit, and then blah blah blah, and Venom's like,
Fuck this guy.
Then the FBI gets there. Since everyone's defeated, especially including Francis, the bell landed on her. Wait a second. Carnage. Okay, whatever. Okay, so yeah. Francis is dead too. Well, dead. They're all technically dead. But in the comics, they constantly come back, so it doesn't even matter. Anyway, Eddie runs away to Mexico because the FBI's there, and Anne and Dan just technically they weren't a part of it. And now that Eddie and Venom are finally free, and Venom finally got to
Feel the sand between my toes and the wind in my hair.
then the movie ends. Yeah, again, the movie should have been longer. And there's a post-credit scene that sets up No Way Home, because Venom is now in the MCU. But if you saw my last video and if you already watched No Way Home, yeah, he doesn't last. In the end credit scene, of No Way Home, Venom gets teleported away, and a little bit Eddie and Venom get teleported, except for a little bit of Venom, which stays in the MCU for a little bit, probably. Anyway, so that was Venom Let There Be Carnage. Wow, this is probably one of my longest videos. No wonder I had trouble making it. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, tell me what we should do next. Except, I'm going to be reviewing Encanto next Friday, so look out for that. Besides that, hopefully I look a bit cleaner, because I need a shower. Anyway, see you guys next Friday for another episode of good content. Hopefully I can get more production on these episodes.